that point, family is core, which probably means children are core, which probably means the protection of children from corrosive influences is one of the most important things in society. And that is an unbelievable, that is a marked difference from what's happening today when kids turn on the MTV Music Awards and they see essentially strippers up there.
Exactly. This past month, myself and Samantha Kamen have done a special report, several reports on the American family. And the American family interacts with the culture. And as anybody living in America in 2021 realizes that the culture is quite toxic, that the American family is under attack by many different sources. I mean, pornography, the media, same-sex attraction, lax drug laws, I mean, you name it. And I had a chance to speak with the director of Marriage and the Family here with the Roman Catholic Church here in Phoenix, the Diocese of Phoenix, Stephen Phelan. And we had a great conversation about what is our role as Americans to defend the family. And because we can't really legislate that, right? I mean, that's really kind of a non-starter. But what we can do is educate ourselves and our own families and help those families that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. But the one thing that I found so interesting in talking with him is that he used an analogy. He said, imagine the culture, our society, is a body, a human body, flesh, bone, and all that. And imagine that the individual cells that make up the body, they could be one of two things. They could be a person, so every single person in America is an individual cell, or each cell could be the family, where each of the cells is an individual family. Again, why don't you tell me a little bit, if you could imagine the family being a cell versus the individual being the cell, what would be the difference, do you think, in society?
Well, I think that we would be, I mean, I sort of go back to I think the premise of what you're talking about is at that point, family is core, which probably means children are core, which probably means the protection of children from corrosive influences is one of the most important things in society. And that is an unbelievable, that is a marked difference from what's happening today when kids turn on the MTV Music Awards and they see essentially strippers up there.
Exactly.
When the lyrics to, I remember my son was 9 or 10 and his phone started playing a song by Eminem. And I was like, caught ya. And I was I looked up the lyrics. I was so angry about it. I kid you not, I crushed his phone in my hand.
Wow.
I was so angry that this garbage was being delivered into my kid's mind and poisoning his emotions and his thoughts and his spirit. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the huge difference. You're not focused on individual adult. I think primarily you'd be focused on trying to make sure the next generation takes over okay.
Yeah, and the thing, you're absolutely right.
I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right in my opinion. If the individual is the cell, then every single person's opinion is valid as anybody else's, right? Any crazy idea, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, is as valid as anybody else. And so we see that. We see the LGBTQ/WXYZ enforcement today.
Mafia.
Thank you. We see some of the race theory we come into schools. We see Pride Month now, and we see children being indoctrinated. And we, as Neuro-Americans, as you said, feel that we can't speak our minds or call out like, no, this is not right. This is not right. And if the family is the nucleus, if the family is the cell, then as you said, the children should be protected. Because another disconnect that our society has is that it disconnects the primary end of marriage. Now, there is a unitive aspect of marriage, but the primary end of marriage is to have children. Now, that's not a very popular opinion in America, but what that is popular, it's popular for the 4,000 years of Judeo-Christian civilization. Western civilization has always promoted the marriage as a primary means for having children. It wasn't until the 1960s with the birth control pill that you would have this separation in human sexuality, where there was a procreative unit and there was a unitive unit. And what the pill did, and contraception like that, was separated it, bifurcated it. So now the Americans view sexuality as just recreation. And procreation is there on the side. Like if you want at some point to have children, well, then go ahead and indulge in that. But really, it's there for, recreation. And that has decimated the family. Because it reduces the sexual act to just recreation instead of what it's meant for. That's the sacred act of procreation.
Any thoughts, Brett?
So there's maybe some area
Because this should be a good discussion.
yeah, there may be some areas of disagreement here. But first, I'd like to focus on places where I think me and you will both point blame. In the halls of Congress, in the offices of the New York Times, by teachers in public schools. I think those are places where children go or adults may go, and those values which you just voiced, those I would say they're pernicious. Those things which do directly look to devalue the family, because the family as a unit is. I can't argue against that. I mean, just the empirical evidence indicating if you don't have a good structure of a family, your life doesn't. Your life may, if you face unneeded obstacles, if you don't have a father, or a mother.
Statistically massive ones, not just unneeded, but enormous obstacles.
Yes, big holes. And I mean, one of the ones that I like to focus on is I have a sister, and I think having a sister gives males a very good role model, a female role model who you can't find sexual. So you're like, I respect this woman. I think that installs very good values.
And vice versa.
Exactly. So where I find the family under attack is the corporate state, the media, like you mentioned, like the degradation of the inclusion of same-sex marriage. Well, we will disagree on those things. I tend to live and let live, and if you don't value the family, I value the family, and I will interact with those people who also value the family. And this is the other thing which I think you stated, which I wholeheartedly agree. What you're saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong. This must happen on a communal level. Like you mentioned, this cannot happen through legislation. We can't mold our image of what is right into the populace. We need to teach people these things. That is powerful, and that's what lasts. Is the motive of education, enlightenment, and if just
keep going,
I'm
please.
sorry. And honestly, the idea that if your local community, if your neighborhood, if your neighbors are those who also share those same values, like you look, my kids are going over to the Smiths, and I know that their family values these similar values that I do. It builds a better community. When one family values family and they have families around them that values family, that whole community is a family, if that makes sense.
Well, absolutely.
And to me, that's what I'm looking for. Is I want to live within a place that installs the same values that I voluntarily subscribe.